Talking about Biden, and more Biden. Today is nothing more than a dog and pony show for Republicans to avoid facing the American people for their trash policies that are killing the economy and our democracy. Despite Republicans' claim of backing the blue and being the party of law and order, we're here today because Republicans are willing to throw our country's top law enforcement agents under the bus to appease Trump and execute his political vengeance.
When the previous speaker talked about facts, here's one fact I know. It's night and day dealing with the Bondi Patel Justice Department versus the Garland Ray Justice Department. Under the Pam Bondi as Attorney General, the Foreign Influence Task Force, that group that was responsible for censoring Americans, has been disbanded. The school board's memorandum has been rescinded. We sent 7 subpoenas to Kash Patel 5 weeks ago. The response we've gotten is unbelievable compared to what we got under the previous Justice Department. He's actually given us thousands of documents already, new information that we tried to get from Director Ray that he wouldn't give us.
Testimony.
We've already received.
I now will recognize the ranking member, Ms. Crockett, for an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and as I'm sure you can assume, we see this a little bit differently. Here we go again, talking about Biden, and more Biden. Today is nothing more than a dog and pony show for Republicans to avoid facing the American people for their trash policies that are killing the economy and our democracy. Despite Republicans' claim of backing the blue and being the party of law and order, we're here today because Republicans are willing to throw our country's top law enforcement agents under the bus to appease Trump and execute his political vengeance. Now, I know remembering things is hard for some of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, like remembering not to add reporters into a Signal chat discussing military war plans. But let me remind my colleagues that it was Trump who decided to store national secrets and classified documents next to his oversized bathtub and toilet at Mar-a-Lago. It was Trump who took the documents out of the boxes and shared them with his guests. It was Trump who told his staff to move the boxes when the FBI was coming. And it was Trump who appointed Director Christopher Wray as head of the FBI, the same director that allowed the investigation to move forward. As much as Trump and Republicans hate to accept it, we are still a country with laws. And when you break them, there are consequences. Now, make no mistake, we should all be concerned about the FBI. But my concerns as ranking member of this subcommittee, as a member of Congress, and as an attorney, as well as a citizen, are based on things called facts. And when I say facts, I mean clear, indisputable facts, not those alternative facts my Republican colleagues continue pushing onto the American people. So let's talk about facts. Fact. Even prior to being confirmed by the Senate, Kash Patel was directing officials within the FBI to fire members within the Bureau simply because they worked on the lawful investigations into Trump. Fact, Patel failed to disclose his previous work and financial ties with the country of Qatar, a country that, had you read the Mazars report, released last year by the House Oversight Committee, you would know paid close to $500,000 to Trump while he was president of the United States. Unsurprisingly, the FBI's Foreign Influence Task Force was recently disbanded, and the DOJ also cut back on its Foreign Agents Registration Act enforcement. Our enemies are jumping up and down now that we're doing their work for them. Another fact, Patel has never even been an FBI agent and is now leading the Bureau. Even one of today's Republican witnesses organizations, the Bureau, has advocated having an FBI agent lead the Bureau. But rather than confirm a director with credible, dedicated experience, the Republicans confirmed a political loyalist with no Quantico or FBI training. Talk about DEI. Didn't earn it higher. Another fact, Patel, who rails against telework, what he calls lazy agents, was working part-time in and out of Las Vegas, commuting back and forth between there and DC, while also living in the home of a GOP mega donor. Think about that for a second. Could you imagine what Republicans would have done had, say, James Comey had been living in New York part-time as the FBI director, and if his New York home was owned by, say, George Soros. Speaker Johnson would have forced a floor vote on articles of impeachment within days of this news coming out. But nevertheless, my Republican colleagues are willing to sacrifice safety for stupidity as long as it's loyal. Another fact, Patel and Trump-backed FBI leadership have redirected FBI agents who are working on investigations involving violent crimes against children and child exploitation and transferred them to work on anti-Tesla attacks and redacting Jeffrey Epstein files. Talk about FBI waste and abuse. You simply can't make this stuff up. To be clear, Director Wray testified before Congress last year, noting that, quote, if each one of the FBI's cyber agents and intelligence analysts focus exclusively on the China threat, China's hackers would still outnumber FBI cyber personnel by at least 50-1. Yet rather than hire more agents to protect against these cybersecurity threats, Director Patel is reassigning agents to redact Epstein files. Someone please tell me how this makes America safe. It's almost as ridiculous and wasteful as Patel's idea to contract the Bureau with UFC fighters. And while I have very real concerns about the current state of the FBI today, I want to be very clear. My concerns aren't with career agents, the men and women dedicating their lives to protect our country and communities. It's with the irresponsible leadership and reckless decisions coming from Patel, Trump, and Doge staff within the FBI. Our Bureau needs resources to do its job effectively. What it doesn't need is 20-something-year-old Doge bags reviewing materials without having undergone proper vetting and clearance. The American people have a right to be worried, but these worries shouldn't be based on Republican baseless conspiracy theories. Our country is already on a dangerous path, pushing closer to causing irreparable harm. Republican members need to wake up and put Trump loyalties aside to engage in real oversight of the current FBI before it's too late. Congress deserves it. The brave men and women at the Bureau deserve it, and the American people deserve it. I want to add one more point. As a civil rights attorney, I have had to sue law enforcement. There have been times that I can truly say that law enforcement has crossed the line. And I truly believe that there can be one or two in a bunch that can ruin every one. The problem that I have right now, though, is that we have decided to focus in on something that my Republican colleagues have decided to term as being political. What is political is when somebody says that they are going to come back and seek retribution. What is political is firing people because they simply were following the evidence and doing their jobs as law enforcement has been trained to do. And ultimately, regardless of whether or not anyone believes that it was right to indict the president, not once, not twice, not three, but 4 times he was indicted, ultimately, each of you knows enough to know that at the end of the day, it is citizens that sit on a grand jury that are the ones that decide whether or not evidence exists to go forward with an indictment. And ultimately, when this president was convicted by a jury on the state level, it was a jury of his peers. And so I want to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your commitment. And thank you so much for the testimony that you will provide. With that, I will yield back.
I'm now going to recognize the chairman of the full committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The previous speaker talked about facts. Here's one fact I know. It's night and day dealing with the Bondi Patel Justice Department versus the Garland Ray Justice Department. Under the Pam Bondi as Attorney General, the Foreign Influence Task Force, that group that was responsible for censoring Americans, has been disbanded. The school board's memorandum has been rescinded. We sent 7 subpoenas to Kash Patel 5 weeks ago. The response we've gotten is unbelievable compared to what we got under the previous Justice Department. He's actually given us thousands of documents already, new information that we tried to get from Director Wray that he wouldn't give us, we've already received. We'll be talking about some of that. So that is the fact, complete change from where we were with the previous Justice Department. The previous Justice Department, of course, that couldn't tell us who planted the pipe bombs, who leaked the Dobbs opinion, who put cocaine at the White House, couldn't tell us answers to those questions. But they had plenty of time to put together the memo to say we're going to investigate moms and dads at a school board meeting, as the chairman pointed out. They put together a memorandum. We've now learned it wasn't just in the Richmond field office, but in other field offices where they were equating pro-life Catholics to extremists. We know they raided the president's home. We know they retaliated against whistleblowers. They even put together, the previous speaker talked about politics. Politics, the FBI created a questionnaire where they asked their employees about other employees who were maybe giving information to us as whistleblowers. Did that person support Trump? That is as political as you can get. So the real thing here is it's literally night and day, the difference between the kind of information that we're able to receive, the help that we're getting, and the focus on going after traditional bad guys, not having half your agents and half your budgets focused on surveilling the American people. Let's go get the traditional bad guys. That's what Kash Patel is doing at the FBI, getting the FBI back to the mission they've had before, which I know some of our witnesses who served there are going to talk about. So I thank the chairman for putting this together, and I thank our witnesses for being here, and I yield back.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm going to now recognize the ranking.
In your country as a special agent for the FBI, you landed in a soft, cushy position as a paid contributor at none other than Fox News. Isn't that correct?
Actually, that was not correct. When I initially left the FBI,
you're not a contributor.
I am at this point, but when I left the FBI, I was not initially a paid contributor for Fox.
But you are a paid contributor now.
Today I am, but when I left the FBI, I was not.
And you get paid to create content at Fox News, isn't that correct?
I get paid to speak the truth.
So you create content at Fox News, don't you? Giving your view on things? That's content creation, isn't it?
What I do is I speak the facts and I speak the truth based on my experience at the FBI.
And you get paid to do that?
I get paid to speak facts and I get
and are you
paid
on
to
the
speak
clock?
the truth.
Are you on the clock right now?
Am I on the clock right now?
Yeah.
No.
You're not getting paid right now for being a lobbyist?
No, sir. I'm not getting
Or
paid
for
to
any
be a
other
lobbyist.
purpose?
Excuse me?
You're not getting paid as you sit here right now to be here?
I am not getting paid to be here. No, I am not,
All right,
sir.
fair enough.